Jesus drove out those who were selling things. Those who were selling things in the temple. In the Gospel according to John, you have a graphic description of what Jesus did in the temple that day. St. John says that he made a whip out of some ropes, and they chased all the merchants in the temple out of the temple. And also he drove out all the animals, the goats, the oxen, the sheep, the doves, that they brought into the temple. And then he scattered the money that they had on their table and also overturned their tables. Some people have asked, did Jesus ever get angry? The answer is yes, he did, but not the way you and I get angry. His is a righteous anger. You may remember the last you were angry. Last time you were angry, it may be because someone hurt you. Someone said something against you. Or someone stopped you from doing something that you wanted to do. It's usually a defense of ourselves. Jesus was judged. The Bible didn't tell us that he was angry. He was mocked. He was never angry against those who mocked him. He was crucified. He was not angry against those who crucified him. He was rejected by some, but he was not angry against them. He was angry because of things that stand in your way of salvation. It's that anger that comes from his love. The love fights. Love fights against things that are contrary to love, against things that are contrary to your salvation. It was fighting for you. The temple of the Lord is supposed to be a place of prayer. And they have turned it to a den of pimps. We're turning it to a Wall Street, an international trade center. And Jesus knew that his temple needs cleanup. We have made wrong choices in our lives. For selfishness, our unholy desires, our unholy habits and behaviors have desecrated, defiled, stained the temple of the Lord that we are. Our lives need some cleanup. Our hearts are supposed to be a seat of love. But we have turned it into a place of lust, lusting after material things. It is supposed to be a place where we share love with one another, but we have made it a place where we enthrone the demon of hate. Our hearts need some cleanup. Our families are supposed to be a throne room of God, where people would come and smell the fragrance of love, the aroma of peace. But we have turned our families into a a war zone. Spouse against spouse, children against parents, parents against children, mother-in-law against daughter-in-law, daughter-in-law against mother-in-law. Our families need some cleanup. Our church too needs cleanup. It is supposed to be a place where people would come and find peace in a troubling world. A place for mercy. But some churches, local churches, are more concerned about material things, about money and structure, and not spirituality. And Jesus is coming to his temples, our hearts, our families, and our churches to do some cleanup to them. So why not spend some time to them, pray, Lord, help me to clean up the mess that I have caused in my life, in my families, and in our church.